It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon, about 3 p.m. I had finally settled into a productive groove, working remotely from my apartment, a place that over the past several months had transformed into my personal sanctuary. Every inch of it was curated. Afrocentric art adorned the walls. Bursts of vibrant color brightened every corner, and well-loved, comfortable furniture made it feel lived in, like home should be. This space wasn't just where I lived. It was where I felt safe, where I was me. I was deep into troubleshooting a tricky coding problem, my noise-canceling headphones filling my head with mellow jazz, when a violent pounding shattered my focus. Bang, bang, bang. This wasn't a knock. It was an assault. I yanked off my headphones, irritation tightening in my gut. Who the hell knocks like that? Peeking through the peephole, I took in the sight of a woman who practically screamed entitled. Bleach blonde hair teased within an inch of its life, enormous sunglasses, and that unmistakable sneer of disdain that suggested the entire universe was just a nuisance to her existence. Standing stiffly beside her was a kid, no more than 8 or 9, wearing a surgical mask. That struck me as odd. COVID mandates had been over for months. I watched them through the peephole for another few seconds, debating if I should just ignore them and hope they'd go away. But the banging persisted, louder, sharper, more demanding. Sigh. Reluctantly, I opened the door, but left the chain lock secured. "Can I help you?" I asked, doing my best to sound neutral. "You sure can," she snapped, her voice oozing with entitlement. "My son's iPad won't connect to the Wi-Fi. You changed the password, didn't you? Give it to me. Now." I blinked, stunned by her audacity. "I'm Soda. I don't even know you. Why would I give you my Wi-Fi password?" Her lips curled into a sneer. "Don't play dumb with me, ape." The word dripped with venom. "We know it was you. You're the only tech-savvy one around here. He needs to watch his cartoons, and it's your fault he can't. Now give him Wi-Fi, ape." The heat of fury rushed through me. Her open racism was appalling, but it was the sheer gall of her demand that made my blood boil. I took a steadying breath. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, voice clipped but controlled. "I haven't changed my password. And even if I had, why would I give it to you? You don't even live in this building." I began to close the door. "Oh no, you don't," she shrieked, shoving her foot into the gap before I could shut it. "I'm calling the police. You're harassing me and my son. You're stealing my Wi-Fi." With a manic gleam in her eye, she whipped out her phone and started dialing. 911? Yes, I'm being threatened by a man who refuses to give me my Wi-Fi password. I stood there in disbelief. This woman was completely unhinged. I slammed the door shut and, through the deadbolt, my heart pounding in my chest. This wasn't over. I could feel it. For a few moments, I just stood there, trying to get my breathing under control. The blatant racism had left me reeling, but I refused to let her intimidate me in my own home. I sat back down on my computer, but not to work. I was furious now, and I wasn't going to sit quietly. I remembered her name. She'd screeched it at me earlier while berating me. Victoria. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I typed her name into Google, adding the name of our neighborhood. Within minutes, I had her full name, her home address, and a picture that confirmed it was definitely her. Then, I did what any tech-savvy person in my position would do. I dug deeper. I found her social media. Facebook, Instagram, even a long-forgotten blog linked in her bio. That's where it got dark. Page after page of racist rants, conspiracy theories, and bitter screeds aimed at anyone who didn't fit her narrow worldview. I scrolled through her posts with growing disgust. But then I found something that made me sit up straighter. An old post. A blurry photo of a court document. Most of it was obscured, but there was a line in the corner that sent chills down my spine. Confirmed paternity fraud. My mind raced. Could be? Was the boy standing next to her, the one she was parading around as her son, actually not her biological child? Was there a custody battle? Or something even messier beneath the surface? This wasn't about Wi-Fi anymore. 15 minutes later, I heard sirens. They were growing louder. My pulse quickened. This was it. The police were coming. I wasn't about to let her twist the narrative. I grabbed my phone and started recording. When the police cruiser pulled up, lights flashing, I opened my door before they could knock. Officers, I greeted them. Thank God you're here. But Victoria was already in full swing. She bolted toward them, her words tumbling out. This man assaulted me and my son. He changed his Wi-Fi password, and now my boy can't use his iPad. I kept my phone camera steady, focused on her. That's a complete lie. Officers, I said, voice calm but firm. This woman showed up at my door, demanded my Wi-Fi password, and hurled racist insults at me when I refused. I have the entire encounter on video. The two officers exchanged a glance. One of them turned to Victoria. Ma'am, is that true? She stammered, her cheeks turning red. He's lying. He's just trying to deflect. I took a breath and decided to push further. Officers, I also have reason to believe this woman isn't telling the truth about her relationship with the boy she's claiming is her son. Victoria's mouth fell open. What? He's my son. Don't listen to him. I opened my laptop, navigated to her old blog, and showed them the post with a court record screenshot. This is from her blog, I explained. It suggests there was a paternity fraud case involving her ex-husband. I think a DNA test is warranted. The officers studied the screen, their expressions unreadable. But then something unexpected happened. The boy tugged at his mask. Victoria's eyes widened in terror. Don't you dare, she hissed, grabbing at his hands. But it was too late. He pulled the mask off, and there it was, plain as day. The boy was biracial, light brown skin, tight curls framing his face. He looked nothing like her. Suddenly, everything clicked. The mask wasn't about germs. It was about hiding him, about hiding the truth, about preserving her perfect, white, conservative image. The silence was thick, heavy. The officers stared at the boy, then at Victoria, their faces dark with something between shock and revulsion. Victoria was trembling now. He has a condition, she sputtered. He's allergic to the sun. That's why he wears the mask. It's for his health. The officers weren't buying it. One crouched down to speak to the boy, voice gentle. Hey, buddy, are you okay? Do you really have to wear the mask because you're allergic to the sun? The boy glanced at his mother, then back at the officer. His voice was a whisper. No, Mommy makes me wear it. She says people will be mean to me if they see my face. The small crowd that had gathered outside let out a collective gasp. Even the more stoic officer's face twisted in discomfort. Victoria's facade crumbled. Her makeup streaked as tears streamed down her face. It's not what you think, she sobbed. I just wanted to protect him. People are cruel. They wouldn't understand. He's my son. I love him. But no one believed her anymore. Her words were hollow. The truth was on full display. She hadn't been protecting him. She had been hiding him, ashamed of his mixed-race heritage. The officers stepped forward. Ma'am, you're under arrest, one said. You're being charged with child endangerment, making false statements to law enforcement, and disturbing the peace. You have the right to remain silent. They cuffed her as she wept and pleaded. She looked back at the boy, desperation clouding her expression. He stared after her, eyes blank, tears rolling silently down his cheeks. His mask lay on the ground between them. The hours that followed were a blur. I gave my full statement to the police. I showed them the video, handed over screenshots of her blog, and explained everything I'd found. They thanked me and assured me the matter would be investigated thoroughly. The boy was taken into protective custody. Later, I learned that his biological father had been found. Apparently, he hadn't known about his son at all, and when he was contacted, he was overjoyed. He came immediately, promising to give the boy the love and acceptance he deserved. And Victoria? Her life was over. The video I'd recorded went viral. Overnight, she became a poster child for racist hypocrisy. She lost her job, her friends, her reputation. Whether she deserved it or not, the internet can be swift and merciless in its judgment. As for me, I found myself in an uncomfortable spotlight. Strangers stopped me on the street, thanking me for standing up to her. Messages poured in, full of support. People call me a hero. It was overwhelming. I never wanted to be a crusader. I just wanted to protect myself. But in doing so, I ended up helping that boy escape a life of shame. In the weeks that followed, I wrestled with whether I had done the right thing. I invaded her privacy. I exposed her past. I destroyed her life. But she had hurled slurs at me. She had lied to the police. And she had forced a child to wear a mask to hide who he was. After much soul-searching and a few therapy sessions, I found peace with my choices. Silence in the face of injustice is complicity. Racism must be confronted, no matter how uncomfortable it makes us. And every child deserves to be loved for who they are. So am I the jerk? Maybe. But if standing up against racism and abuse makes me one, I'll wear that label proudly. And yes, I did finally change my Wi-Fi password. But not out of fear. Out of principle. Because the internet should be for everyone. But respect is not optional.